Spring is the spawning season for the big ocean-going rainbow trout called steelhead. The wild fish seek out the small tributaries of the Snake and Salmon rivers where they themselves will spawn. The journey has been long, and now the time has come for the last chapter in an amazing story of survival. The female has chosen a nest site in the bed of the stream. Nearby, a big male hovers, playing court, as she fans the gravel with her tail to form a depression to lay her eggs. Once the steelhead have spawned, they most likely will die, their decomposing bodies restoring nutrients into the stream. But for most of Idaho's hatchery-raised steelhead, it's a different story. Their life cycle will end in a hatchery like this one at Oxbow Dam, just south of the Seven Devils Mountain on the Snake River.
One more.
This hatchery, like all of Idaho's steelhead and salmon hatcheries, was built to mitigate for the loss of these fish when the 8 hydropower dams were built on the Snake and Columbia rivers.
No doubt most of you are familiar with the furor which was caused by the failure of the fish trap at Oxbow Dam site. This will give you a little better idea of what happened.
This film was shot in 1958. Even before Oxbow, the second of the 3 Hells Canyon dams, was completed, the problems began for Idaho's ocean-going fish. Thousands of adult salmon and steelhead were trapped in pools around the dam site when the fish trap failed. Efforts were made to salvage the fish, but most died, their carcasses littering the edges of the pool. Then, when Hells Canyon Dam was built in 1967, it became the end of the road for Idaho's steelhead and salmon in the Snake River. No longer would the big fish travel any further upstream to spawn naturally. As a result of man's intervention, hatcheries became necessary.
We're trying to maintain the runs. Before the 3 Hells Canyon dams went in, they were going quite a ways upstream, and we've totally lost all the fishing for that section. And so we're here just to mitigate for the losses there and to try to promote the fishing.
Adult steelhead trapped at Hells Canyon Dam are trucked here to Oxbow Hatchery for spawning. The males and females are divided into separate ponds and then shunted by a series of flumes into the spawning area. Hatchery worker Lisa Rubel nets females into a tank that has been treated with a drug to sedate the fish. Each female is then killed quickly with a sharp rap to the head.
Okay, ready? 595.
The length measurement helps determine whether the steelhead spent 1 or 2 years in the ocean before returning to the Snake River. The belly of the female is sliced open, and then thousands of bright red eggs are scooped into a sterile container. Meanwhile, in the pit below, male steelhead are being spawned. The hatchery workers feel along the fish's lower body cavity and apply pressure. If sperm is not readily expressed, the male is sent back through this flume into the holding pond. It's not an easy job to handle the big slippery fish, and when one appears to be ripe, it takes some effort to get him to cooperate.
That's a common occurrence.
Over 1,400 fish for the season. Our goal is minimum of 1,200 in the fall, and we only reached 1,083. But the spring run made up for it.
Although Oxbow Hatchery will meet its mitigation goals, the upper river hatcheries at Sawtooth and Passamaroy have exceedingly low numbers of adults returning.
Okay, guys. Ready for another one.
The sperm is mixed with the eggs in a bucket, and well water is added to activate the sperm.
Once the water hits the sperm, it's about 11 seconds to a minute before it's not good anymore. The quicker you get it on, the better chances of fertility you're going to have. And then we let them set for 5 minutes. And then we'll put an iodine mixture over the top of them to keep the diseases from being laterally transmitted from the adults to the eggs.
The fertilized eggs are then taken to the hatchery building to be placed into incubators.
First we'll pour off a little bit of the water and then get a rough estimate of how many ounces. We can correlate that to, we've been averaging about 238 eggs per ounce. That way we have a rough estimate
Julie says that if they can keep the water at a steady 43 degrees, the eggs will eye up in about 30 days. This means small black dots will appear in the egg, indicating the development of the eyes. When that happens, the eggs will be packed up and shipped to Niagara Springs Hatchery near Twin Falls to be raised to juvenile steelhead called smolts. And the cycle begins again.
It's so neat to you see something that you can raise and see your finished result 3, 4, 5 years later. And it's, I don't know, just enjoyable.